Welcome back. You're on the money with me, Liam Halligan. Now, before the break, we were hearing from our Northern Ireland correspondent, Doogie Beattie, about the Northern Ireland Protocol. That's the arrangement negotiated during those fraught Brexit talks between the UK and the EU, designed to protect the European Union's single market and avoid a physical border across the island of Ireland between Northern Ireland and the Republic. Now, Baroness Kate Hoey has argued for some time that the Northern Ireland Protocol should be scrapped. She joins us now. Baroness Hoey, great to see you. Happy New Year to you. You obviously grew up in Northern Ireland. You feel very strongly about the protocol. We've seen David Frost, the government's Brexit negotiator, resign just before the festive period. Foreign Secretary Liz Truss has now taken over the remaining negotiation on the Northern Ireland Protocol. What's your message to Liz Truss?
Well, Happy New Year to you, Liam, too. My message to Liz Truss is she has very, very little time left to sort out and finish these negotiations, because people in Northern Ireland are beginning to feel not just ignored, but completely abandoned. And the protocol, for all its effects on business from Great Britain to Northern Ireland and the hassle that businesses have to go through, which means many of them are deciding not to send anything to Northern Ireland anymore, all of that, those sorts of little things, little in many ways, could be tinkered with. But for most of us in Northern Ireland who are pro-union and who are part of the United Kingdom, feel that the protocol is actually broken the Belfast Agreement, which means the balance between north-south and east-west has gone. And therefore, the period of instability that I am sure is going to happen if we don't see the end of the protocol, it is damaging the Northern Ireland's position within the Union and is actually damaging the entire Union. And I think the Prime Minister and Liz Truss in particular, who believes very strongly in the Union, should feel now is the time to give the European Union perhaps 2 more weeks to get this sorted. Otherwise, we do what we can legally do from the protocol, invoke Article 16. That's not the answer to everything, but at least it shows the European Union we're serious.
You say that the protocol is an affront to the Good Friday Agreement. It's not just you saying that. Nobel Peace Prize winner David Trimble, a huge historic unionist leader, one of the key architects of the Good Friday Agreement, says exactly the same thing, because this protocol changes the constitutional arrangements of Northern Ireland without a referendum, which the Good Friday Agreement says must happen. If indeed Article 16 is invoked, Kate Hoey, and the protocol is scrapped, what then happens in practical terms? Do we go back to a situation where the border across the island of Ireland remains invisible, but we have to have some kind of behind-the-border checks across that frontier, derogations for smaller firms, reliance on trusted trader schemes and so on? Is that what you foresee happening?
Well, of course, a lot of the technical solutions to the issue of protecting the EU's internal market, and I understand they want to protect their internal market, but a lot of the technical solutions were discussed some time ago, and indeed even the previous Taoiseach in the Republic of Ireland wanted to get meetings to discuss how they would sort out some of the issues of people going back and forth or across the border. But then Leo Varadkar came in and that stopped.
Kenny, the Taoiseach before Leo Varadkar, right? You're referring there to Enda Kenny, the Taoiseach before the previous Taoiseach, as it were.
And Varadkar will be coming back in a year or so, because they have a situation where it changes every now and then. But yes, you're right. But of course, what we do know now is that so little trade actually goes direct from Great Britain over into the Republic of Ireland via Northern Ireland, that all of that could be sorted by the Irish government themselves on behalf of the EU in their own territory. There is just no need for a border. The border, the whole idea of a trade border was nothing to do with the Belfast Agreement, and was simply a way, I believe, and I think a lot of people believe, the European Union very cleverly, with the support of the Irish government, used it as a weapon to have a go at the United Kingdom for leaving the European Union. And I think the British government, our government, thought that it wouldn't be implemented very severely. And of course, the European Union has really, really been draconian in the way it's been introduced, with more checks, on that border and on between the Irish Sea than there are all over the rest of anywhere else the EU has a border. So it's not necessary. I think if the government needs to show the European Union that it's prepared to stand up to it, and then we might see some sensible suggestions and some sensible solutions, because it's not an issue that is not solvable by goodwill.
You obviously hail proudly from Ulster, Kate, yet you've spent most of your career as a Westminster politician, not just a Labour frontbencher, now in the House of Lords as a non-aligned peer. You know Irish politics as well as anyone at Westminster, it strikes me. So what's your advice to Liz Truss in terms of what she should do? Should she be talking to people in Dublin as well as people in Belfast? Because it strikes me that you've now got a Taoiseach in Micheál Martin who is maybe ever so slightly more constructive towards this protocol, towards Brexit in general, than his predecessor, Leo Varadkar. Is that fair?
Yes, I think it is fair. And I think there's people in Northern Ireland have a lot of time for the current Taoiseach. Unfortunately, he's got a foreign minister in Coveney who is very, very different, and seems to, every time he speaks, just really seems to be deliberately wanting to upset people in Northern Ireland. But I think, Liz, yes, I think that, the Irish government have a role to play here. They could actually, I think they feel that, I'm sure the Irish government have felt great over the past few years because the European Union has given them huge amount of sort of publicity and support and made them feel very, very important. I mean, as we all know with the European Union, when it suits the European Union, they will ditch the Republic of Ireland in the same way they've ditched some other EU countries when it suits them. So I would have thought that this was a time when the Irish government and perhaps the Secretary of State for Northern Ireland and the Irish government officials should be talking genuinely to actually to make them realise too that this can't go on like this. The issue of consent has been completely broken. The way the government brought in the idea of consent, the legal action that I'm involved with taking against the government on the protocol, we've seen the government itself admit in court that they are wanting to subjugate the union. And it's the article of union, the article within the union that makes the union, as it is. So that's going to eventually end up in the Supreme Court. The government doesn't need all this. They just need to get real, to do what they say they were going to do, to get Brexit done, to get the United Kingdom to leave the European Union properly, not leaving part of us, Northern Ireland, abandoned, deserted, and even more as time goes on, being further and further drawn away from the rest of the United Kingdom.
Kate Hoey, Baroness Hoey, thank you for your contribution today. Here at GB News, we will continue to remain focused on this issue and Northern Ireland in terms of its politics and economy more generally.